Let's begin with the latest on Keith Urban. The ink is barely dry on his divorce, but reports are already swirling that he has not only moved on from Nicole Kidman, but has also moved in with a new girlfriend. Kinsey, what can you tell us about this developing mystery? For nearly 2 decades, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were the shining example of a Hollywood love story that worked. They graced red carpets, delivered emotional award speeches, and made countless public declarations of their deep affection for one another. They navigated the challenges of rehab, celebrated incredible career highs, and raised 2 daughters together, always presenting a united and solid front to the world. That's why the bombshell news in January of 2026 that their 19-year marriage was officially over didn't just surprise fans. It left them absolutely stunned and heartbroken. And almost immediately, another name from Nicole's past was thrust back into the spotlight: Russell Crowe. Old rumours were reignited, their long-standing friendship was scrutinised, and insider claims fueled dramatic headlines, all promising shocking revelations. But in the midst of all this speculation, what information has actually been verified? What do we truly know about the final days of Nicole and Keith's marriage, the divorce itself, and what role, if any, has Russell Crowe played in her life during this incredibly difficult transition? Let's carefully unpack all the details. First, let's look back at how this seemingly perfect marriage even started. A brief look at their love story is essential. We need to set the stage because understanding the depth of their marriage is key to understanding why the divorce was such a profound shock. It all began in January of 2005 at the G-Day USA Gala in Los Angeles. 2 of Australia's biggest stars met and an undeniable spark was ignited. Nicole later admitted on the Ellen DeGeneres show in 2017 that she had an immediate and massive crush on him. Keith, however, was a bit slower to make a move. He famously waited 4 long months before he finally called her after she'd given him her number that night. But once he made that call, their relationship took off like a rocket. By May of 2006, they were officially engaged to be married. On June 25th, 2006, they tied the knot in a magnificent ceremony in Manly, Australia, surrounded by friends like Russell Crowe, Naomi Watts, and Hugh Jackman. It was a storybook wedding. For Nicole, who was emerging from her highly publicised divorce from Tom Cruise, it seemed she had finally found her true happy ending, but their new marriage would be put to the ultimate test almost immediately. Only a few months after their wedding, Nicole had to stage a painful intervention for Keith's struggles with alcohol and addiction. In October of 2006, Keith checked into a rehabilitation facility for 3 months. He later confessed to Rolling Stone in 2016, saying, "I caused the implosion of my fresh marriage." He admitted that their marriage survived by a miracle. That level of raw vulnerability and their shared honesty about such personal struggles made fans and the public love them even more. They successfully weathered that intense storm together and went on to build a loving family, welcoming their daughter, Sunday Rose, in 2008, and then Faith Margaret, via a surrogate, in 2010. They chose to settle down in Nashville, a world away from the relentless glitz of Hollywood, and for many years it appeared they had cracked the code for a lasting celebrity marriage. For more than a decade, they genuinely seemed to have it all figured out, balancing fame, family, and their love for each other. Their public displays of affection were a constant source of inspiration. In 2018, Keith captioned an anniversary photo with the words, "12 years of celestial synergized soul dancing." Then in 2019, he paid a moving tribute to her at the AFI Life Achievement Award, sharing how she was his rock who supported him through the darkness of rehab. He told the audience, "If you want to see what love in action really looks like, give that a whirl." They even had unique quirks in their marriage that seemed to strengthen their bond. Nicole revealed in 2023 that they had a rule to never text each other, preferring to always call and hear a voice. As recently as June of 2026, Nicole posted a tender black and white photograph of them embracing for their 19th anniversary with the simple caption, "Happy anniversary, baby." At that time, nobody could have possibly foreseen what was just around the corner. So where did it all go wrong? The shocking split blindsided absolutely everyone. On September 29th, 2026, TMZ broke the news that sent a seismic shockwave through both Hollywood and the country music industry. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban had officially separated. According to numerous sources, the couple had been living apart since the start of the summer of 2026. The very next day, September 30th, Nicole filed for divorce in the Davidson County Circuit Court in Nashville, officially citing irreconcilable differences. But it's at this point that the official story begins to get much more complicated and murky. According to TMZ and several other tabloid sources, and we must be very clear that these are unconfirmed sources, not official statements from either party, a confusing narrative began to take shape. There were numerous conflicting reports about which one of them had actually initiated the split. Some media outlets claim that Keith was the one who wanted out while Nicole was desperately trying to save the marriage, with one source telling TMZ, sometimes relationships just run their course. That same source added she did not want the separation and was trying to save things. In contrast to the swirling rumours, the official court documents simply stated the standard legal reason of irreconcilable differences. The fact that both parties signed the dissolution agreement suggests that whatever turmoil was happening privately, they were able to come to a mutual legal arrangement to formally end their marriage. A spokesperson told People magazine, Nicole's sister Antonia has been a rock, and the entire Kidman family has come together to support one another. The narrative that Nicole was blindsided continued, with sources claiming she didn't want this. She has been fighting to save the marriage. The divorce documents, however, revealed some very telling details. Both parties had actually signed the marital dissolution agreement several weeks before the public announcement was made in September of 2026. This timeline proves they had been working on the details of their split behind the scenes for some time, all while maintaining a happy public facade. Their final public appearance as a couple was in June of 2026 at the FIFA Club World Cup in Tennessee, which was the same month Nicole posted that loving 19th anniversary tribute on Instagram. All of this begs the critical question, why did their marriage really come to an end? So what was the actual catalyst? The official reason cited in the court documents is irreconcilable differences, which is the classic catch-all phrase for a Hollywood divorce. But numerous reports from inside sources and some of Keith's own public statements begin to paint a far more complex and layered picture of what truly transpired. During a remarkably candid interview with Entertainment Tonight, Keith Urban laid bare the profound personal sacrifices his legendary career demands of him. He explained that making sacrifices in his relationships is an unavoidable reality of his commitment to music. It's not a job, it's my life, he revealed. In his view, for something this consuming, it's just got to be your purpose. In a teaser for his CBS special The Road, he also offered a raw confession, telling audiences that life on a tour bus could often be intensely lonely and even miserable. This was a genuinely revealing admission about the heavy emotional price of being constantly on the move. These were not flimsy excuses, but rather the honest reflections of a man visibly grappling with the balance between his work and his life. Keith has consistently been transparent about the all-encompassing nature of his music career and the immense difficulty of sustaining relationships within that demanding lifestyle. On top of that, there was the unavoidable issue of their wildly conflicting professional obligations. At the time, Nicole was deeply immersed in filming Practical Magic 2 alongside Sandra Bullock, while also preparing for an upcoming season of Big Little Lies. Meanwhile, Keith was traversing the globe on his High and Alive World Tour, which was in support of his 11th major studio album. They were effectively leading entirely separate lives on opposite sides of the planet, and that immense distance inevitably began to create fractures. But hold on, because we also have to address the swirling storm of rumours and intense fan speculation that was brewing online. Followers began buzzing intensely about Keith's on-stage chemistry, with the 25-year-old multi-instrumentalist Maggie Bohr, a featured member of his touring band. The speculation hit a fever pitch after Bohr shared a performance video of herself and Keith where eagle-eyed fans swore he subtly altered the song's lyrics. The internet absolutely erupted with theories. Now, this next part is critically important. Maggie Bohr has gone on record to explicitly and forcefully deny any sort of romantic involvement with Keith. There is absolutely no verified proof of any affair. This entire narrative was built on fan theories and over-analysed social media clips. Still, the incredibly suspicious timing of the divorce filing coming just days after that video went viral prompted countless fans to connect the dots and draw their own conclusions, whether they were fair or not. A collection of various sources and widespread fan interpretations all seem to paint a broader picture of two people with clashing priorities and a slowly growing emotional chasm between them. It's a classic story of two extraordinarily successful individuals whose careers and demanding lifestyles may have just gradually pulled them in completely different directions after nearly 2 decades as a couple. The details of the custody agreement also seem to tell a very specific story about their situation. The legal documents name Nicole as the primary residential parent of their daughter Sunday and Faith granting her custody for 306 days per year. Keith was granted visitation every other weekend and alternating holidays. Notably, neither is paying the other alimony or child support, as both individuals earn well over $100,000 per month. Even more telling, the couple shares no joint assets. Everything they own is held separately through a complex web of trusts and LLCs. On the 6th of January 2026, their divorce was officially finalised by the court. In her ruling, Judge Stephanie J. Williams stated that there exist such irreconcilable differences between the parties that would render continuation of the marriage impractical and impossible. And just like that, a marriage of 19 years was officially over. But this immediately raised the one question on everybody's mind. Why, in every story about Nicole Kidman's divorce, does the name Russell Crowe inevitably appear? Let's be completely honest about the media machine and what's really going on here. It's the classic tabloid formula at work. Major celebrity divorces almost always follow a highly predictable media narrative. Step 1, announce the separation. Step 2, speculate wildly about who is to blame. Step 3, immediately start looking for the rebound relationship or the new romance angle. Step 4, find a supportive friend who can be framed as potentially becoming something more. Russell Crowe is the perfect puzzle piece for that 4th step. He's a massive movie star and he's technically single, or at least just dating a minor detail the tabloids are happy to overlook. He shares a long history with Nicole. He possesses that ruggedly handsome appeal. And he's been through a high-profile divorce himself. From a purely tabloid-driven perspective, he is the ideal candidate around whom to construct a compelling new narrative. The headlines practically materialise out of thin air. Russell Crowe steps up for heartbroken Nicole, inside Nicole and Russell's deepening bond, or Keith Urban, worried about Crowe connection. This entire cycle is meticulously engineered to generate clicks, drive magazine sales and ensure the conversation keeps going. Then there's the Australian connection. A powerful nationalist element is also at play here, a dynamic that tabloid media absolutely loves to exploit for drama. Both Nicole and Russell are celebrated Australian icons who conquered the heights of Hollywood. There's an undeniably appealing storyline about two Aussies finding comfort and solidarity with one another during challenging times, as if they are reconnecting with their shared origins. It's a narrative about finding solace with someone who instinctively understands where you've come from. Tabloids amplify this angle relentlessly, placing heavy emphasis on their shared heritage. They highlight their intrinsic understanding of each other's world and frame Russell as representing a comforting return to her authentic Australian roots. For Nicole, this narrative makes for fantastic copy, even if it unfairly reduces a complex, decades-long friendship into an overly simplistic romance trope. The timing of certain events is what truly provides the fuel for all this speculation. Here's what gave the tabloids their ammunition. Nicole's divorce was finalised in January of 2026. At the same time, Russell has been highly visible across the Australian entertainment landscape. They have that publicly documented interaction from 2019. They collaborated on a project in 2018. All the separate pieces are there ready for the tabloids to assemble them, whether the connections are real or not. Compounding this is the fact that both celebrities are famously guarded and relatively private about their personal lives. Neither of them is constantly posting life updates on social media or sitting down for tell-all interviews, which creates a vacuum of information that gossip columns are more than eager to fill. And when you do that, you leave a gaping void that the tabloids are more than thrilled to fill with claims from unnamed sources and whispers from supposed insiders. This whole situation is hardly exclusive to Nicole and Russell. Almost every high-profile celebrity divorce unfolds along these same predictable lines. Think about it. Jennifer Aniston's split from Brad Pitt spawned a full decade of Poor Jen articles and stories about who was on her side. And when Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's marriage imploded, the media immediately started linking her romantically with practically every single one of her male co-stars. When Reese Witherspoon's marriage ended, it triggered a relentless wave of gossip and intense speculation about all of her close friendships, turning them into something they weren't. The relentless 24/7 media engine demands a constant stream of content, and the messy details of celebrity divorces offer an endless goldmine for speculation, particularly when the two people at the centre of the storm choose to remain silent. But here is a fascinating detail in all of this. Russell Crowe has maintained absolute radio silence regarding Nicole's divorce. There has been not a single public statement, not one solitary social media update, not even a mumbled comment to a persistent paparazzo. Absolutely nothing. For a celebrity known for his blunt honesty and for publicly sharing his opinions sometimes to his own detriment, this profound silence is incredibly conspicuous. But the irony is that we are now dissecting his silence with the same intensity that the tabloids are using to speculate about his supposed role in the breakup. We are caught in the same cycle, and we don't fully grasp the potential damage of the narrative being built. Here's the part that truly troubles me about the constant insertion of Russell Crowe into this story. It has the dangerous potential to completely strip Nicole of her own power and agency in her life's narrative. The story effortlessly morphs into a tired old trope. Nicole, the fragile woman, must lean on the shoulder of a strong man to endure her divorce. This completely overshadows the truth, which is that Nicole is an immensely powerful and accomplished woman who is navigating a profoundly difficult personal transition. Let's not forget, Nicole Kidman is among the most celebrated and successful actresses of her entire generation. She is an Academy Award winner, a successful producer, a devoted mother, and a sharp businesswoman. She has already weathered one of the most public divorces in history from Tom Cruise, and she emerged from that ordeal even more powerful. She certainly does not need Russell Crowe or any other man to come to her rescue. If Russell has truly been a wonderful and supportive friend to her through this, that's fantastic. But the way the tabloids frame this narrative makes it appear as though Nicole is some helpless damsel unable to function without a man's support. This narrative is not only lazy, it's a profound insult to her incredible strength and unwavering independence. So what's the real reason Russell Crowe's name is being endlessly dragged into this divorce saga? It's simply because the gossip machine needs a compelling character, and he fits that role to a T. Whether there is a single shred of truth to any of the rumours remains completely unconfirmed. But on the subject of reactions, let's look at how the public and the fans truly felt about the divorce news itself. How did fans react to the genuinely shocking news when the story of the split finally broke the internet, went into an absolute meltdown? Countless fans who had long viewed Nicole and Keith as the ultimate couple goals, a symbol of lasting love in Hollywood, were completely and utterly devastated. Social media platforms instantly transformed into a fierce battleground of opinions, and to be perfectly honest, the vast majority of people immediately rallied to Nicole's defence. After Nicole filed for divorce, her first public social media post was from the Chanel show at Paris Fashion Week in October 2026, where she appeared with her daughters, and the comment section was just deluged with overwhelming support. One user wrote, "Loving your new look, Nicole. You deserve a partner who gives you the absolute best." Another commented, "Keith made a massive mistake. Anyone would be beyond lucky to have such a dedicated wife and truly kind person in their life. You're an absolute goddess." "Go on and rock it," one fan enthusiastically declared, while another added, "Mama being single looks incredible on you." Yet another person cleverly observed, First, she served him the divorce papers, and then she served this look. The overall feeling from the public was crystal clear. Fans overwhelmingly saw Nicole as the one who had been wronged and were passionately lining up behind her. Her social media was dominated by comments like, "Keith, who, you're a stunning and amazing woman," and "Keith is not even worth your time." But the real outpouring of fan rage ignited when unverified tabloid stories surfaced in January 2026, alleging that Keith, at 58 years old, had already moved in with a significantly younger woman. A few gossip sites began to speculate that this new woman might be the up-and-coming country singer Carly Scott Collins. It's critical to note, however, that this rumour has never once been substantiated by a credible source, and Keith himself has made zero public comments about any new romantic relationships. Regardless of the facts, social media users reacted to these rumours with incredible ferocity. "Lost a massive amount of respect for KU," one person wrote on a Page 6 Instagram feed. "Wow, what a huge disappointment," another person chimed in. "So he's just another cliche." "Yep, got it," a third person agreed. "Shame on him. Honestly, he did Nicole a massive favour. Let this young girl deal with all of his issues now. She seems built for it. I genuinely hope Nicole moves forward to find a life filled with peace and happiness," added another supporter. Many observers couldn't help but point out that the alleged new girlfriend bore a striking resemblance to a younger Nicole, which many considered the ultimate slap in the face. Fans also refused to hold back their opinions on Keith's general conduct during the split. When he posted on Instagram in November 2026 to promote his CBS show The Road, his followers completely took over the comments with unsolicited relationship advice and sharp criticism. "You need to save your marriage. Get off the road, stop touring, and appreciate the amazing thing you had right in front of you," one heartbroken fan pleaded. Another pointedly asked, "Do you even realise you just threw away the best thing that ever happened to you?" Someone else delivered a stinging blow. "Nicole is the reason you stayed in the spotlight, not your music." That one had to hurt. There was also a particularly awkward moment that went viral from one of Keith's concerts in Nashville in October 2026, when a fan in the crowd shouted that her name was also Nicole. His immediate reaction to dramatically collapse onto the stage in a fit of laughter quickly spread online, and not in a flattering way. Fans widely perceived his behaviour as deeply insensitive and dismissive of the divorce, leading many to comment that the entire spectacle just made both of them seem immature. In stark contrast, Nicole was earning widespread praise for her classy handling of the situation, especially when she posted a radiant, sun-drenched bedroom selfie on Valentine's Day 2026, which she cheekily labelled Galentine's Day to celebrate her female friendships. Alongside the caption, "Happy Galentine's," her fans flooded the post with adoration and approval. "You are absolutely glowing," one fan gushed. Countless others showered her with comments, calling her stunningly beautiful and celebrating that she was clearly thriving. Even close celebrity pal Michelle Pfeiffer joined the chorus, posting, "Happy Galentine's, my dear friend." The public narrative was immediately set in stone. Nicole was the epitome of grace and maturity, handling the situation with unwavering dignity. Meanwhile, Keith was painted as the walking embodiment of a midlife crisis, a classic cliche of a man chasing after younger women and placing his skyrocketing career far ahead of his family commitments. Whether that was a fair assessment or not hardly mattered. In the high-stakes court of public opinion, the verdict had already been delivered. But underneath all the side-taking and the swirling drama, there was a current of genuine heartache. A surprising number of fans voiced that they felt a personal sting from the news of the split. One woman typed into her group chat, "Okay, why am I actually sad about this?" admitting she wasn't even a die-hard fan of either star. The answer, it turned out, was simple, because Nicole and Keith had come to represent a glimmer of hope. They stood as living proof that second chances in love weren't just a fantasy, that finding happiness after a painful divorce was genuinely attainable, that addiction could be conquered, and that a high-profile celebrity marriage could actually endure. Entertainment journalist Anne Helen Peterson articulated this sentiment perfectly in a piece she wrote exploring the strange and unexpected melancholy that surrounded their divorce announcement. She argued that the sadness wasn't merely about Nicole and Keith as individuals, it was deeply connected to what their enduring marriage symbolised, especially for women who harboured fears of ageing out of their own relationships, who were haunted by the worry of being replaced by a younger model, and those who constantly questioned if a successful, powerful woman could truly have it all. For many, Nicole's divorce felt like a collective nightmare coming true, confirming their deepest insecurities. And this is precisely where our narrative pivots, where we have to carefully sift through the mountain of tabloid fiction to find the kernels of verified fact. Because the real story of the bond between Russell Crowe and Nicole Kidman is far more compelling than any manufactured rumour rooted in a shared Australian history that goes back for decades. To be clear, Russell Crowe and Nicole Kidman are not just some casual Hollywood acquaintances who happen to cross paths on a single movie set. Their connection is woven into the very fabric of the Australian entertainment world and stretches back over a significant portion of their lives. Both of them are absolute titans of Australian cinema who ultimately conquered Hollywood. They each uniquely understand the immense pressure that comes with being an ambassador for Australian talent on the world's biggest stage. Both have weathered the relentless storms of fame, navigating the treacherous waters of public romances and the ceaseless media scrutiny that is part and parcel of being an A-list superstar. While the exact date they first crossed paths isn't a matter of public record industry, insiders have long confirmed they've been in each other's orbit since their formative years in the Australian art scene. So by the time they had both become established power players in Hollywood, they were building on a solid foundation of mutual professional respect and a truly genuine friendship. So let's examine their professional collaborations. Back in 2018, Nicole and Russell shared the screen in the emotionally charged drama Boy Erased, which was directed by fellow Aussie Joel Edgerton. The movie explored the harrowing true story of a young man who is forced into a gay conversion therapy program by his deeply religious parents. Russell took on the challenging role of Marshall Amons, the Baptist pastor father, with Nicole portraying his conflicted wife, Nancy. The project demanded incredibly intense emotional depth from both actors, and they delivered, earning critical acclaim for their portrayals of parents wrestling with their faith in the face of their son's identity. It's clear that the experience of making Boy Erased significantly deepened their existing connection. During the film's promotional tour, Russell was effusive in his praise for Nicole, publicly calling her performance extraordinary. He also made a point of noting just how much he valued the opportunity to finally work so closely with her. For Nicole, this role resonated on a deeply personal level. As a dedicated and long-time advocate for the LGBTQ+ community, the film gave her a platform to explore a profoundly complex character. She portrayed a woman caught in the agonising struggle between her unconditional love for her son and the rigid doctrines of her religious upbringing. But their professional ties extended far beyond just being co-stars in a single film. Both have been profoundly involved with the Australian Academy of Cinema and Television Arts, also known as ACTA. In fact, Russell once served as the organisation's president, while Nicole held the prestigious position of vice president. And these weren't just honorary titles for show. Both were hands-on, actively championing Australian film and tirelessly working to support the next generation of emerging Aussie talent. It's a shared dedication that has kept them in regular contact and provided a common purpose for many years, completely separate from their acting careers. Then, in 2019, Russell and Nicole sparked headlines when they had a chance encounter, coincidentally seated right next to each other on a long flight back to Australia. Russell documented the moment on his social media, warmly referring to Nicole as one of my favourite people in the universe. Now, this wasn't some calculated PR move or a manufactured moment of celebrity friendship. This happened years before Nicole's divorce, at a time when there was absolutely no strategic reason for Russell to offer such a public compliment other than pure, genuine affection. That comment is especially revealing when you consider Russell Crowe's public persona. He isn't exactly famous for heaping praise on people, especially not in public. He has a reputation for being famously blunt, sometimes controversial, and he certainly doesn't waste time with the superficial niceties of Hollywood. So when a guy like that calls someone one of my favourite people in the universe, it carries a different kind of weight. It strongly suggests a real substantial friendship that has been built and tested over many years of shared experience. And then there's the subject of divorce and Russell's own painful split. This is what makes Russell Crowe a uniquely qualified and empathetic friend for Nicole during this challenging chapter of her life. He has been through his own gut-wrenching, high-profile divorce. Back in 2012, Russell and Danielle Spencer announced their separation after 9 years of marriage, though they had been a couple for 15 years in total. Their divorce was officially finalised in 2018, the very same year that he and Nicole were working side by side on Boy Erased. Russell and Danielle share 2 sons, and by every available account, the dissolution of their marriage was an incredibly painful process. Even though the split was reportedly amicable, Russell has spoken openly about the profound difficulties of navigating co-parenting. The challenge of shielding his children from the public eye and navigating the intense scrutiny that comes when a marriage unravels on the world stage. During that tumultuous time, he buried himself in his professional life, immersing himself in demanding movie roles and using a packed schedule as a shield against the emotional fallout. Does that playbook sound at all familiar? Because it's precisely the strategy Nicole seems to be employing right now. And if there's anyone on earth who could truly grasp the unique heartbreak of a long-term marriage dissolving, of raising children with a person you're no longer romantically tied to, and of trying to hold your head high while gossip columns dissect your every single action, it is undoubtedly Russell. So what is the real story behind Nicole's divorce? This is the moment where we need to slow down and draw a very clear line between what has been confirmed and what is pure speculation. Let's start with the verifiable facts. Russell Crowe and Nicole Kidman share a friendship that has been documented for well over 2 decades. This isn't just a rumour, it's a known reality within the entertainment industry. They've been connected for years, originating from their shared roots in the tight-knit Australian creative scene. They appeared on screen together as a married couple in the film Boy Erased back in 2018, showcasing a professional chemistry. They've also stood side by side in significant roles for ACT, which is Australia's equivalent of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. In 2019, Russell went on the record affectionately calling Nicole one of his favourite people in the entire universe. That wasn't a line fed to a gossip columnist. It was a documented public statement. Furthermore, Russell himself navigated his own very public and painful divorce. He has a deep personal understanding of how agonising and exposed that entire process can make a person feel. Now, for what is not on the record, neither Russell nor Nicole has released any official statement suggesting that he's been her pillar of support throughout the separation from Keith. There have been 0 interviews, absolutely no revealing social media interactions, and a complete absence of press releases, and that official silence speaks volumes. But this is where the story heats up. According to sensational publications like OK Magazine, The National Enquirer, and Radar Online, all of whom quote anonymous insiders, Russell has allegedly transformed into Nicole's primary source of emotional support during this difficult split. The unverified stories claim he has been phoning her almost daily to check in. Rumours are swirling about clandestine coffee dates intended to be grounding moments for her. He's reportedly urged her to channel her energy into her work, mirroring the exact coping mechanism he used during his own divorce. The narrative continues that he's actively sending her movie scripts, eager to find a new project where they can collaborate once more. Adding another layer of drama, his long-term girlfriend Brittany Theriot, who he started seeing in 2020, is purportedly feeling uneasy about their intense closeness. These same sources allege that Nicole has been adamant their connection is purely platonic, but that hasn't stopped the whispers from circulating among their social circles. One unnamed source was quoted as saying Russell gets how devastating the end of a long marriage can be, and he didn't think twice about being there when Nicole reached out. Another supposed insider stated that he escapes through his work and that Nicole is taking his playbook to heart. It's a compelling narrative for sure, but is any of it actually verified? Absolutely not. And here's the thing, on the surface, the story seems logical. We have two friends with a 20-year history. Both have experienced highly publicised divorces. Both know the pressure of co-parenting under a media microscope. And Russell has always been known for his fierce loyalty to his old friends. And it is an undeniable fact that Nicole has been pouring every ounce of her energy into her career since the split was announced. She was recently revealed as a co-chair for the 2026 Met Gala, sharing the honour with superstars like Beyoncé and Venus Williams. She has a slate of major projects on the horizon, including the much-anticipated Practical Magic 2 with Sandra Bullock and a new instalment of Big Little Lies. Her role in Baby Girl is already generating significant awards buzz. So the notion that Russell might have advised her, keep working, keep pushing forward, doesn't seem like a stretch at all. But herein lies the major issue. Something feeling believable is a world away from it being factual. Every single one of these juicy, detailed claims originates from completely anonymous sources. There has been zero public validation from Russell's camp. There has been absolute silence from Nicole's representatives. Not a single confirmed photograph of these so-called secret meetings has surfaced. No one has put their name to these stories. The jealous girlfriend storyline is also a time-tested classic tabloid narrative. It's a plot device that is practically guaranteed to grab headlines and spark reader interest. Russell is also famously protective of his private life and relationships. The idea that details of daily phone calls and secret rendezvous would consistently leak without a single reputable media outlet ever getting confirmation seems highly improbable. So while it's certainly conceivable that these two old friends have been in contact, the dramatic specifics being circulated remain entirely in the realm of unconfirmed gossip. So we've explored the marriage, the shocking separation, and the swirling rumours involving Russell Crowe. But what does the future hold for Nicole herself? Welcome to Nicole's post-divorce chapter. Now let's focus entirely on Nicole. She has navigated this public split with remarkable poise and grace. Since the news broke, she has graced magazine covers. She debuted a stunning new hairstyle that fans immediately dubbed Revenge Hair during Paris Fashion Week in October 2026. And she even created a viral sensation at a Sabrina Carpenter concert in Nashville, where she playfully mugged for the camera when she appeared on the Jumbotron. Her social media presence has been a masterclass in confidence, filled with high fashion looks, heartwarming family moments, and subtle posts that serve as a powerful declaration that she remains an icon. A source close to People magazine mentioned she's focused on positivity and trust that everything unfolds for a reason. In contrast, other insiders have painted a much colder picture, describing her current dynamic with Keith as completely frozen outside of the essential communication required for their children. Of course, that chilly description is a product of anonymous sources, not a statement from Nicole or her team. The divorce settlement was reportedly executed cleanly and swiftly. The terms included no alimony, no ongoing child support, a prearranged holiday schedule, and a structured plan for co-parenting. In other words, perfectly amicable on paper. The emotional reality, however, is a much more complex story, and it's a story that only the two of them will ever truly know. On his end, Keith Urban has maintained a near-total public silence. While the gossip rags have been buzzing with whispers of his regret and profound loneliness, it's crucial to remember that these are just stories attributed to unnamed sources. What we can confirm, however, is that their split was finalised without any of the drawn-out, messy legal drama that often accompanies high-profile divorces. Sources close to the family have indicated they came together for Christmas in 2026, putting on a united front for their daughters. They are absolutely committed to co-parenting. This move certainly points to a level of maturity, even if insiders claim the emotional atmosphere between them is frosty at best. So let's cut through the noise and get to the real, grounded conclusion. Fact number 1. Russell Crowe and Nicole Kidman share a genuine, long-standing friendship that goes back decades. Fact number 2. Russell is no stranger to the intense pain and scrutiny of a very public divorce himself. Given their history, it's completely believable that they've been in touch during this difficult period. However, the sensational claims of daily hour-long phone calls, clandestine meetings, and intense script-swapping sessions that are supposedly creating friction with his current girlfriend, all of those juicy details remain completely uncorroborated. And until there's concrete proof, that's exactly where those stories belong, firmly in the realm of tabloid speculation. If Russell has been a pillar of support for her, perhaps through a few quiet text messages or the occasional phone call to check in, it's happening far from the public eye. And unlike those anonymous insiders, we can't just invent details to fill in the gaps and present them as fact. Ultimately, the divorce of Nicole and Keith signifies the closing of a chapter on a marriage that for many fans was a beacon of hope in Hollywood. They weathered the storm of his early struggles with addiction. They built a beautiful family together, and they managed to make it last for nearly 20 years in an industry known for fleeting romances. It's a stark reminder that sometimes a marriage doesn't end with a bang or a scandalous affair, but with the quiet realisation that two people have simply grown apart. The official court documents paint a picture of irreconcilable differences and a straightforward, orderly financial settlement. Meanwhile, the tabloids are spinning a much more dramatic yarn filled with secret confidants and simmering tensions. The actual truth, as it so often does, probably resides somewhere in the vast grey area between a quiet, supportive friendship and an over-the-top, sensationalised narrative. But what is absolutely undeniable is this: Nicole Kidman is navigating this next chapter of her life with her signature strength and resilience. Russell Crowe's status as a documented long-term friend is not in question. And the intimate details of any private conversations they may or may not have had belong to them and them alone. Perhaps that simple privacy is the real truth of the matter. So I have to ask you, what is your gut feeling? Are Russell and Nicole simply old friends, supporting each other through one of life's toughest challenges? Or do you believe there's a deeper story here that the gossip columns haven't even uncovered yet? I need you to drop your unfiltered thoughts in the comments section below. I genuinely want to hear what you think about this entire situation. And if you appreciated how we've sifted through the rumours to find the facts, do me a favour and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you also click that little bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know when we release our next investigation into the celebrity scandals that have the whole world buzzing. Here we're all about cutting through the static and delivering only the verified information you can trust. So where do you stand on all this? Are you on Team Nicole or Team Keith? Or are you just feeling disappointed that what truly looked like one of Hollywood's last great love stories has come to an end? Let everyone know what you're thinking in the comments right now, and please don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth analyses of the celebrity news everyone is obsessed with. We'll see you in the next one. You've just heard the real story behind the shocking divorce of Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. No speculation, just the facts we can actually confirm.